So, heavyweight, Frazer Clarke makes his comeback. Um, he continues the journey to become heavyweight champion of the world. Um, Fresh from the Olympics, as you know, and his third, fourth fight now. His last opponent last night, Pencho, if you want to call him that. Clarke would have had tougher sparring sessions leading up to the fight than the fight he had last night. The first time that Clarke hit him, he didn't want to know. And from that point, the fight was over. And the referee had to stop the fight, not literally because he was hurt, but because he just didn't want to fight. This was in the first round. I don't know what Frazer Clarke learned from that, apart from, you know what? Don't ever put me in the ring with something like that again. That is what I'd be saying to boxer, whoever the matchmaker was for that bout, needs his head taken off, tucked off. In fact, I think Frazer Clarke should get in the ring with that matchmaker for that particular bout and ask him to take those punches for a round. It's just not what you want to be seeing. It's not a good look for boxer. It's not a good look for Frazer Clarke. It just was a bad matchup. You do get them in boxing. You do get matchups like that in boxing, but there's so many heavyweights around. Frazer Clarke doesn't deserve that. So let's talk about it on BWTM Sports, and let's get into it before I continue talking this whole show away. See you in a minute. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome back to BWTM Sports. Second show. First one was on Natasha Jonas, Pencho, and Joe Gallagher. Congratulations. I made my apologies to Joe Gallagher. I used to say, tuck up tight, Joe. But Joe Gallagher, congratulations, Pencho, signing Natasha Jonas. Congratulations on Joe Gallagher keeping the faith. And congratulations for Natasha Jonas for taking the challenge up and to becoming a unified champion. So, on to Frazer Clarke. Now, first of all, I've got to say Frazer Clarke, met him when I was in Sheffield, actually doing some work for Dennis Hobson back in the day. I was in Tesco's and I bumped into Frazer Clarke. And he told me he predicted that Joshua would beat Klitschko. He just said he had to keep his head off the line. But yeah, we spoke for a good 15 minutes in Tesco's. Nice guy, real cool dude. You know, some of these guys can walk around like they're something special. When I'm saying, you do have that right to feel something special, but sometimes people think because they are special at what they do that they cannot stop to talk to you. But, he was real cool, spoke to me, talked a good lot about boxing, very supportive of Anthony Joshua. I remember him at the time, talking very good things about Anthony. And yeah, just really nice, cool dude. So I want to say that. And Frazer, if you're watching the video, big man, hope you're well. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about that fight. Pencho out here making Don King cards look good. Disaster of a night. Listen, I think what you got to understand is everyone's going to have a bad boxing card. Everyone's going to have a poor card. It happens. Eddie Hearn's had it. Don King's had it. Lou DiBella's had it. They all have it. It can happen. You cannot control human nature. It happens. You drive a car. One day it's going to break down on you. It's just part of what comes with the sport. I don't get too excited about bad cards because you can have one bad card and next week you've got Clarissa Shields versus Savannah Marshall. So I didn't get caught too much into that. So yes, sir. Good to see you, Liam. Weight difference was mad. Yeah, the guy looked like he was a light heavyweight or maybe a super middleweight. Dear me. Complete fanatical matchmaking. Yeah, it was more farcical, not fanatical. But it could have been fanatical. But yeah, farcical. Absolutely agree with you there. Pencho blamed 258 management. IFL interview saying that they turned down several opponents. Yeah, well, I wouldn't be surprised. 1, 2, 3 management, I call them. I loved how Frazer conducted himself afterwards. He speaks as well, so as well. Feel bad for whoever bought a ticket, though. Yeah, I know. He's articulate, you know. He knows what is up. Frazer Clarke is one of them men that you can't pull the wool over his eyes, and neither is he going to try and pull the wool over your eyes. He's not going to come out and say, be humble and do all that nonsense. He's not going to get caught up in that. He keeps it real, Frazer Clarke, straight down the line. I like him for that. Let's see there. Just don't want another one of their stars possibly taking an L before AJ rebuilds. Yeah, maybe, but there's a way and a way. They have completely messed up AJ's career anyway. Because if they're a management company, how can they allow AJ to have picked a guy, picked a trainer that said he was completely, he could not be fixed? How can he pick that trainer to then become the guy that's going to try and make him win the heavyweight championship of the world, and then pick a head coach that has no business being in the heavyweight division? Anyway, that's 258 management. Leave them where they are. 258 need to duck for cover, shots coming from them at all angles. Well, I've been calling them out for a long time. It's all well and good doing things when it's easy. It's like having friends. It's all right being a friend when everyone's got the money and everything's going well. But when shit is the fan, are you accountable? Now they're having to be accountable for shit. So, you know, with their fighter going out of control, you know, you got to deal with it. So, what did you think of Frazer's opinion on the no real step-ups for him to progress steadily in the heavyweight division? He said there are no gatekeepers anymore. What's he talking about? You can fight Sokolowski. You can go and fight him. There are guys you can fight. There are guys that Frazer Clarke can fight. And I would suggest very quickly that he has, in his mindset, he needs to learn. Okay? You know, people say, oh, yeah, he's an experienced amateur. Really experienced amateur. We could rush him into a British title fight. And then when there's a disaster, you say, see, these people, Sky Sports are typical for it. They drop these seeds early. Oh, yeah, there are people saying that he should fight for a British title. No, you are saying he should fight for a British title. Why do you care about what people say? You're the broadcaster, and you should be setting the narrative. Not what people say setting the narrative. You should set the narrative, Sky Sports. Sick and tired of Sky Sports. When are you going to fight for a world title? When are you going to fight for a British title? When's he going to have a step-up fight? These questions that are asked, I kind of wonder if the people that are asking these questions are there to either trip a fighter up or to see the downfall of a fighter. Because I don't know why they ask these ridiculous questions. Guys had 3 fights. When are you going to fight for a British title? So they don't ask when you're going to fight for a British title. Instead they say, well, we hear, you know, that he could fight for a British title or he should fight for a British title. No, well, don't even entertain that. You got sense. Don't entertain that crap. As far as I'm concerned, Frazer Clarke has got a deep amateur background. We know of that. So there's a way they can take him. They can take him through the heavyweight division. You know, if I were Frazer Clarke, I'd be going on the road. Get a couple of fights in the USA. Don't be like AJ and stay in England. Go to the USA. Take a couple of fights in the USA. Come back. They let people see you in America. Come back to the UK. Don't be like AJ. Don't wait until it's the biggest fight of your career to cross over and then get your ass whooped in front of Americans. Build an affinity with the Americans. Go and fight in Europe. There's a lot of fighters in Europe you could fight as well. You know, so I don't want to hear that rubbish. I don't want to hear that rubbish at all. He called out Sokolowski, and to be honest, I think Pencho would have already put him in front of 258 and they turned it down. Well, 258 obviously knows something about Frazer Clarke that we don't. But you know, he needs to fight someone. But one of two things: that performance last night would have put pressure on Frazer Clarke to step up. So technically, they've done themselves no favors because what they've done is stick him in with a guy who had no business being in there. So then people are going to look at that fight and say, look at the type of opposition Frazer Clarke's fighting. He needs to step up. So there's unnecessary pressure put on him. So I don't know what 258 management are doing, but I always call them 1-2-3 management because they don't seem to have a clue of what they're doing. Let's keep going. It's Sky being desperate. They don't have any pay-per-view stars since Eddie left them. They'll be better once they settle in again. Yeah, well, Eddie didn't have a clue how to manage fighters. He didn't know how to. His matchmaker was a disaster, a walking, talking disaster of a matchmaker, and that's why I didn't have pay-per-view stars. Hopefully now, Sky will build a nice platform with Ben Shalom. A lot of the guys will leave Sky's Matchroom, and Matchroom will be exposed for what they really are, which is a car crash waiting to happen every time you sign with them, because they'll pay you your money, but you better be able to fight because you're going to get thrown under the bus. They don't care about you. Matchroom boxing do not care about their fighters. They will throw you under the bus when they are ready. All right? So that's as far as I'm concerned. Frank Warren will look after you. Frank will look after you. Frank will guide you. Frank has got a track record and history of guiding you, guiding people to world titles. That hasn't changed with Frank. But when you look at Eddie and Matchroom, look at their history of destroying fighters' careers. So you're seeing it now. Congratulations to Natasha Jonas. I'm going to keep on saying it. So there you go. Ben is already much better than Eddie. I said that already. I said that about Ben Shalom. As soon as I saw that guy, I said, you know what? I like that guy. And don't be surprised if somewhere in this mad journey of BWTM sports, myself and Ben Shalom do not sit down and have a chat. I can see it happening. And I always get that feeling about when I'm going to see someone. I'll get to see him at some point. Frazer, take your ass to New York to fight a Washington Kawanaki will do wonders for him. At this point, Frazer Clarke could fight Kawanaki. I will take the Kawanaki fight. Joe Washington, I'd be careful of. Kawanaki, I'll take that fight. There's some good fighters out there you could take on as well. Trevor Bryant. Again, I keep throwing that name out there. Yeah, that's it. It's what they are. That's what they are. When I look at Ben Shalom, he looks like a guy who really actually genuinely cares for fighters. He looks like he cares for boxers. He looks the kind of guy that's going to rehabilitate you. I don't really call him Jesus, but, the guy who's going to bring you back from the dead. That is what the Resurrector. That's what I'm going to call. That's my nickname for Ben Shalom, the Resurrector. So, Ben, if you're watching, you are now known as the Resurrector on BWTM Sports, because I believe you can resurrect the matchroomed. Those people who have been matchroomed, that have been put into fights and got bashed up. I believe Ben Shalom can bring those guys back. He can resurrect them from being matchroomed into potentially becoming world champions, because I think that he has got what it takes. Ben's got the charisma, and even when Frank Warren had a go at Ben Shalom, he was quite cool about it. So he understands the BS. He's had to deal with the BS, and he obviously seen the BS. He says, you know what? Whatever happens, I don't want to be like you. So if Butler beats in anyway, Joe Gallagher is the greatest of all time trading stays. Yeah, but listen, he's a unified champion trainer. He's done it, Joe Gallagher. So can't knock him. Apparently, Ben has some big money behind him as well. I'm not surprised. Rich Daddy. So, yeah, I'm not surprised, to be honest. I like Ben. I like the way he carries himself. You know what I mean? Ben Shalom is the type of guy that you could go in a pub and you could sit down at Witherspoon's and have a pint with Ben Shalom, and you could actually believe him if you sat down with him. If I had a fighter that I wanted to that had been matchroomed, and I'd go to Ben and I said, look, Ben, look at this guy. What do you think of him? He seems like a reasonable type of guy. I'm not saying that he is Snow White. I'm not saying that Ben Shalom is infallible. I'm not saying that Ben Shalom is, all I'm saying is he is refreshing to look at, and the way he comes across makes boxing easier to watch than having to watch apples and pears every week and the dart chuckers constantly blowing smoke up this guy's ass. So happy. But disagree with Ben about Tasha. Eddie got her 3 light title shots. At what weight division? At what weight division? You know, you look at, and I did a video on this already. Look at Ben Shalom. He took Natasha Jonas. They went 2 weight divisions up, and they fought and they won a world title. And then they went and fought an unbeaten WBC champion and beat her too, convincingly, and almost knocked her out. What does that tell me? That tells me that Natasha Jonas may have been draining herself to make the weight in those world title fights. That's what it tells me. That's what it tells me. And I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised, you know? So, and some people fight better at home. You've just seen her put on 2 brilliant performances to become a unified champion. So I don't, having known how Eddie treats his fighters and seen how he treats his fighters up close and personal and from a distance, I don't even want to hear about Eddie on my channel. I really don't. I'm not interested. I'm not interested. Good riddance. I'm so glad. I'm so happy. So delighted. Yeah, call me a hater. Call me what you want. But I don't blow smoke up people's asses like that. You know what I mean? I've just said to you that I like Ben Shalom. I even like Frank Warren. I'll always like Frank Warren. I'll always like Frank Warren. You know what I mean? Because I've met him and I've met Eddie, and I'll always like Frank Warren. I ain't got no beef with Frank because I'm not a fighter and I don't have to worry about being paid. So it's not my business in that. But in terms of professionalism, in terms of likability, in terms of appreciation, Frank Warren. Frank Warren. You know what I mean? So that's what I'll say about that. As for Frazer Clarke, I think he needs to seriously have a word with himself because these people allowed that fight to happen, and he co-signed it by getting in the ring and fighting that dude. So he co-signed it by getting in the ring and fighting that dude. So for me, he has to take some responsibility for that. But I will say that much. I think that that won't happen again. I don't think they won't allow that to happen again. Ain't that Joe's fault more than Eddie's? Joe will get the blame for everything, as you know. Joe probably wanted her to have a side advantage. Joe's going to get the blame for everything. You know already. We know Joe Gallagher gets the blame for everything. You know what? But any guy that sticks up for their fighter, I've got respect for. You know? So any trainer that does it sticks up their fighter, in particular against a matchroom fight for a matchroom fighter who you know is going to get the short end of the deal. The heavyweight champion of the world, their unified heavyweight champion of the world, got the short end of the stick. Their moneymaker in Kell Brook got the short end of the deal. So it is what it is. So yeah, and so what if you wanted size advantage? So what? That's a good trainer protecting his fighter. So I've got no issues with that whatsoever. Right. So Frazer Clarke, you learn from this experience. You're not the only heavyweight or any fighter in the world that this has happened to. Learn from it. Just make sure it don't happen again, because if it does, more questions will be asked. But you need to get a better fight up. You need to fight somebody better in the next fight. Somebody who's going to A, take you rounds, and somebody B who's going to hit you back. Doesn't have to be a puncher. There are guys you can fight. And, you know, maybe next video I do, I'll take a look at the guys who... Frazer Clarke should go with Safa Safiri next. You know who he could fight? He could fight that guy that... what's his name? Tom Schwartz. Frazer Clarke versus Tom Schwartz. That'd be a good fight. Yeah, Safa Safiri. Frazer Clarke fights puddings. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Yeah, well, I'm sure he will fight puddings, dumplings, plantains, and yam. And eventually he'll have a good meal to finish off on. So, yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching, as always. BWTM Sports, Gaming, appreciate it. Seriously, bro, put him in with Dominic Brazil. No. I wouldn't even fight Dominic Brazil. No. You can fight Trevor Bryan. Let him fight Trevor Bryan. Let him fight. Yeah, let him fight somebody who's got a low punch resistance. I mean, that's what he needs. Guys who've got punch resistance, or guys who can't punch very hard. Those are the guys he needs to be fighting now. Guys he can take out relatively within 3, 4, 5 rounds. Yeah, that's what he needs now. A couple of those, and then step him up into a 10-rounder against somebody, again. And then maybe go for a British title, Commonwealth title, European title, and then fight for the world title. That's how I'd like to see Frazer Clarke do it. But don't listen to me. If it's anything to do with 258 management at the moment, God only knows what they're going to do with Frazer Clarke. But in terms of the man himself and his articulation, how he carries himself, wonderful. Just needs better opposition. That's it, to be frank. Right. Let me get out of here. Thank you, as always, for watching. This has been BWTM Sports. Was somebody saying something? World title. Oh, my God. I know. Yeah, but don't laugh. Why don't know what you're laughing for. I don't know what you're laughing for. If he's not going for a world title, what's he boxing for? This guy's fought in the Olympics. So I don't know what you're laughing for, mate. Do you see the video of him twerking? No, mate. No, not really. Severn, LOL. Yeah, who knows? Put him in with Conor Benn. I'm out of here, guys. I'm out.